According to Manly P. Hall in his book, The Secret Teachings of the Ages, he claims that they originate from India or Arabia, then to Southern Europe, or that the Templars brought them back from the Saracens or some other magical sect from Syria in that time. And to avoid prosecution, the Templars would act as if the cards were for amusement. Miss John Van Rensselaer stated that the cards were brought by the home-returning warriors who imported many of the newly acquired customs and habits of the Orient to their own countries. And in his work, The Gypsies, Samuel Robert says this of their Egyptian origin. In one place he writes, "When gypsies originally arrived in England is very uncertain. They are first noticed in our laws by several statutes against them in the reign of King Henry VIII, in which they are described as outlandish people, calling themselves Egyptians, who do not profess any craft or trade, but go on about in great numbers. A curious legend relates that after the destruction of the Serapeum in Alexandria, a large body of attendant priests banded themselves together to preserve the secrets of the rites of Serapis. Their descendants, the Gypsies, carrying with them the most precious of the volumes saved from the burning library, the Book of Enoch, or Hoth, the Tarot, became wanderers upon the face of the earth, remaining a people apart, with an ancient language and a birthright of magic and mystery."
So, we have NASA with Apollo. NASA means to receive and heal.
Betty, talk to me. Betty, are you there? Betty? Betty?
The plane just What? The 737?
What?
The World Trade Center.
Who are you talking to?
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
United 175, New York. We have some problems.
The virus was traced back to this now closed seafood and meat market, but tests have so far failed to isolate a source.
As of this morning, there have been 571 cases confirmed by the Chinese government, and 17 people are reported to have died of this new
Over here right now. We might have a hijack over here, two of them. Jules, this is Ryan. Lives on an airplane that's been hijacked. If things don't go well, and it's not looking good, I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do it.
What you just saw, the first ever moon landing, that was really fake. The US government lied to you.
At the conference today, they gave the virus a name, COVID-19, coronavirus disease.
We have the moon tarot deck card for 18. As I started looking at it, I noticed all these things. Twin towers, fallen angels, the mountain behind it. He looks like he's trying to be like God. 6 + 6 + 6 = 18. Then I started thinking about the scorpion in the water, and I thought about Aquarius and the scorpion. I thought about Twin Towers, and I was like, I can bet that was the first time that was in Scorpio. It was in the age of Aquarius. It was the first time it was 9/11. And sure enough, it sure as hell was. On that exact day, for the first time, in the age of Aquarius, the moon was in Scorpio. be true since the age of Aquarius, which began in 2001. So with the new year being on April Fool's Day, the original calendar, this means September 11th was the very first time this moon was in the constellation Scorpio in the age of Aquarius, just like the car. The moon landing itself was in Aquarius as well.
Do is just keep running the other way. The firemen are going this way, so are the police officers. And we don't know what's happening. This is as close as...
Tax. The names around the New York City Memorial identified the 2,983 people who were killed that day and in the 1993 bombing.
Water bearer is Aquarius. That's how I knew it was going to be Aquarius. Here's a quote. And they had a king over them, which is the angel at the bottom of this pit, whose name is Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Scorpion water. And they had a king over them, all this stuff. Scorpions, that's what it goes with also. Run the Bible, look at upon the earth, from the same chapter, down the same lines. Same thing.
Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes, or in their offices, secretaries and businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing, have filled us with disbelief, terrible sadness, and a quiet, unyielding anger.
I'm often asked why I have this book. Well, this book is a piece of American history. It is the book that George W. Bush was reading when 9/11 happened. That morning, he was at Emma E. Booker Elementary School in Sarasota, Florida, following along as students read a story from Reading Mastery Level 2, Storybook 1 Rainbow Edition, specifically the story on page 152, The Pet Goat. It's about a little girl who gets a goat that won't stop butting things. At 9:05, his chief of staff whispered into his ear, "A second plane has hit the second tower. America is under it."
Look at his eyes, he looks so proud. Their master plan is unfolding.
Bush continued to sit and listen to the story for 10 more minutes. Critics called it inaction, indecisiveness. Michael Moore made the moment infamous in Fahrenheit 9/11. And a few weeks later, Osama bin Laden jumped on the incident in an attempt to embarrass Bush. Since then, many students and faculty present that day have defended Bush, asking what good it would have done if he'd rushed out of the room. 22 minutes before the Pentagon was struck, the classroom read the final words of The Pet Goat.
And I remember he knew about this all along, the whole time. The Scorpion, the water, Aquarius, the moon and Scorpio happened once in 1,000 years, just that perfectly the first time in that age.
At 22 minutes from the time of impacts, 9:37 a.m. ET. It would be approximately 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time.
Nineteen years later.
Was traced back to this now closed seafood and meat market, but tests have so far failed to isolate a source.
As of this morning, there have been 571 cases confirmed by the Chinese government, and 17 people are reported to have died of this new strain of respiratory illness.
We're working very closely with China and other countries, and we think it's going to have a very good ending for us, so that I can assure you.
At the conference today, they gave the virus a name, COVID-19, coronavirus disease.
Years later, we get pandemic, which is the next part 19. It's exactly 19 years after 9/11. That's when we get the pandemic. So first we have the moon in Aquarius for moon landing, and Scorpio for 9/11. Interestingly, Pfizer was named after Janus. Who the hell is Janus? January was named after him. The Roman god of doors and time, two faces. He makes him the god of the new year and Julian calendar, as well as both of them, because his name is July. Janus is the transition between peace and war, twofold in the Roman Forum, close to the Senate House. Another twofold monument close to the Senate House is the Twin Towers Monument in New York City, near the Senate House as well. And what happened after 9/11? War. Janus is Apollo. It's the same motherfucker. So we're back to him again. In fact, the Towers of Nero's Tower of Rome. So we go to January 20, 2020, which is Janus, his day, his month. When it first cracked off. Back to the game where we started. Story old as time, because it's the landing of the eye on the moon. That was about. Apollo faces first challenge, slaying the monstrous serpent Python, the Oracle of Delphi. He triumphed, claiming the Oracle was his own, establishing as the center of divine prophecy. Fell in love with a bunch of girls. His unrequited love for Daphne turned her into a laurel tree, while his infidelity with Coronis resulted in her death and the birth of Asclepius, the god of medicine.
COVID-19, coronavirus disease.
Things to come.
So now, Apollo's son, Asclepius, became so skilled in healing that he could even raise the dead in Ophiuchus. That's the constellation that's missing. That's the constellation that's missing. That's the 13th zodiac. The secret. And look at the next card. Yeah, Judgment. 20th card. Water flowing in the background and people rising from their graves. Just like how he can make people rise from their graves. And I saw an angel coming down out of heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit, and holding in his hand a great chain, and he seized the dragon, the ancient serpent. And he threw them into the abyss, and locked them and sealed them, keep them away from the deceiving nations anymore until 1,000 years break. After that, he must be set free for a short time.